So because the government tells me that I cannot sit on the benches outside of their business, I brought a chair so that I can enjoy my coffee on the sidewalk like a regular person would. I'm not going to let the government tell me what I can and cannot do. Keean Bexte for Rebel News outside of Purple Perk in downtown Calgary. This is a cafe that has become a bit of an icon in Calgary, known for its outspoken owner. He actually posted a bunch of signage outside on April Fool's, labeling this as Justin Trudeau's campaign headquarters, calling Justin Trudeau an April Fool. And you know what happens when you make fun of our dear Prime Minister? Well, government scrutiny comes along with it. AHS actually came to this establishment and posted this sign on his door. You can see it here that says, "This establishment is closed." Well, it's not actually closed. It's kind of misleading. And CTV and the mainstream media were quick to jump on it to punish him for his opposition to the favorite of the mainstream media, Justin Trudeau. I'm here to speak with him today and grab a coffee because this business is actually open. And as funny as this is, as comical as it is to put caution tape on these benches, I notice that actually right down the road, there's a city bench that isn't sectioned off. Anyone can sit on it because it's city property. But if you were to get a coffee and sit on these benches, you would be an existential threat to the national security of Canada, and you will be punished along with this business owner. Business owners just like Paul, who are all hanging by a thread during these times. Let's go speak to Paul. Contrary to what the mainstream media has said, you are indeed open. CTV published an article saying Purple Perk is closed, along with a slew of other articles from the mainstream media that were really quick to jump on you for allegedly having people that were drinking your coffee on the sidewalk. It seems crazy the times that we're living in. Could you give us some background about that CTV article? What happened to your business here? What did AHS do? Why did they do it?
AHS just dropped by to make sure that nobody was being served beverages or food on the patio or inside, which we have not done since the first part of March. This has been completely closed off and blocked off. There hasn't been customers standing there. I think what brought the attention of the AHS here was that during the warmer weather, motorcyclists and people were, after they purchased their coffee and left the shop, they were standing around and talking to one another. We made it extremely clear that you can't congregate anywhere on our property, so people took that to mean the city sidewalk or the curb. We also had other customers donate lawn furniture that they could place elsewhere, not on our property, for people to come and sit and just experience a little bit of an oasis of normality in this time of hysteria.
Yeah. So your business has been very outspoken, to say the least. In the past, you've had the April Fool's joke with Justin Trudeau's campaign headquarters. You've had a few other jokes. Do you think that you might have been targeted by people reporting your business?
My neighbor next door, a few years ago, I changed his high-end restaurant into a strip club, and we spent all night papering the windows. We had banners printed. I mean, we're just trying to have some fun. We're harmless. Nobody was hurt, and that's everything we're trying to achieve here during this. Is we're really focused on community health, not only physical but mental. It's a really tough time for everybody, and a lot of people are just thankful that they can just come, have a coffee, just be reassured that everything's going to be okay one day, and we're all going to stay safe and get through this.
You were saying before we were filming that you like to think of this as a little oasis away from what's going on in the world. What do you think is going to happen in the short and medium terms here? How long do you think businesses are going to be able to hold out, and how long do you think customers are going to allow the government to censor what they're allowed to do in their lives?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and we're all wondering what the future holds for that. I mean, even as we stand here today, this traffic on the street is way more increased than it has been in previous weeks. And just in the last 10 days, we've noticed you could just walk across the street and not even look. But these days, you have to make sure that the light turns green, and traffic's increasing. So I think people are trying their best to get out there and live a safe and normal life as much as they can.
As of right now, Purple Perk is still open. You can grab a coffee. I just did. It's located in Mission in Calgary, Alberta, and they are not closed for business. So because the government tells me that I cannot sit on the benches outside of their business, I brought a chair so that I can enjoy my coffee on the sidewalk like a regular person would. I'm not going to let the government tell me what I can and cannot do. Now, it's been a day of coincidences. I've managed to speak with customers, fans of this restaurant, and also a staffer with Alberta Health Services who just happened to be right next to the restaurant. I asked that AHS employee if it is the right of the government to say when society can and cannot operate.
I think to a certain degree, just because they're not sure either, right? So they're making their best assumptions for society as a whole based on the information that they're gathering globally. So sometimes governments have to make tough decisions for the betterment of the community. That's why we put people in power. So, you know, it's not everyone's going to agree, right? It's a big world and we all have differing opinions, but unfortunately we elect officials to make tough decisions for us that hopefully is for the collective betterment of society, not just individuals. So sometimes tough decisions have to be made like this. So, yeah.
Great. Now, I also spoke with an individual who was interested to know, who was speaking with the owner, Paul, asking whether the business was open for business again, because they were watching the mainstream media, or rather his wife was, and he thought that the business was closed because AHS put out a notice saying that that was the case and then sort of retracted it with a written statement on that piece of paper. Here's that conversation. And can you explain, you thought Purple Perk was closed. You listened to the you were watching the mainstream media
My
yesterday.
wife was watching the mainstream. I don't watch mainstream media because I like to sleep at night. So I came home there the other day and my wife said, hey, your favorite coffee shop is closed. I said, what are you talking about? So there was a little incident there about a week ago where this lady looked like she was dressed up going to the International Space Station. And she started to scream in the lineup and someone told her to bugger off. So I thought maybe that woman called in and tattled on him or something. But obviously it was all wrong anyway. So
should the government be able to decide when businesses and when society is allowed to operate or not? Is that something that the government should be allowed to do?
I don't think so. I mean, if you want the zombie apocalypse, keep on going the way it's going. People have had enough. Had enough.
I can't help but compare this to what's going on in Florida. There were people that were gathering outside of his business drinking coffee. How dare they? But just in Florida, there was actually a group of people who started working out outside of a gym. The gym was closed. They wanted it open, but the government kept saying no. So they started doing squats outside of the gym. Watch this.
Earlier, they were all down doing push-ups, squats, and stuff just to show their support for gyms. They want the gyms to reopen.
Now, I wasn't expecting the day to turn out like this, but this has turned into sidewalk coffee chats with Keean for Rebel News in Calgary, outside of Purple Perk, but across the street so that the government doesn't get him in trouble. I'm Keean Bexte. Hey, thanks for checking out our coverage here at Rebel News. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you haven't, and this is the most important part, ring the bell at the bottom of this video on YouTube. If you do that, YouTube won't be able to redirect traffic to mainstream media sites who will mislead you like CTV does.